afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicole Messiah. I have the honor and pleasure to serve as your District 3 County Commissioner, but also as the Chair of PECS, Planning, Economic Development, and Community Services. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicole Messiah. I have the honor and pleasure to serve as your District 3 County Commissioner, but also as the Chair of PECS, Planning, Economic Development, and Community Services. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicole Messiah. At this point, and if you've had an opportunity to review the minutes, I will entertain Planning, Economic Development, and Community Services. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicole Messiah. At this point, and if you've had an opportunity, thank you so much, Commissioners here. That's agenda item ending in 0380. I'm sorry. No, that's the minutes is there we go. 0380. Thank you so much. All those in favor?
You second.
A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a presentation by Mr. Alan Mitchell, and I believe our COO, Zach Williams, will also weigh in. And if you gentlemen are ready, we are ready to go. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What we'd like to present is directly related to operating a day center, establishing and operating a day center to care for the unhoused, beginning in about the next 4 weeks. That's what we're hoping. So we have met with a number of agencies and kind of discussed a number of the needs, and Mr. Mitchell will kind of articulate what we've come up with. The intent is to provide a location where the unhoused would be able to not only be, quite frankly, during the day, but to receive certain services. So Mr. Mitchell will talk through some of the wraparound services that will be provided at this facility, and we see this as another front door, an opportunity to get people assistance, get job training, and ultimately get housing. And so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Mitchell, who will talk through our planned use of the facility, our estimated timeline, and how we'd like to move forward.
Fantastic, and I'll just briefly read the agenda item, and that's for those following along. Agenda item 2026-0396, all commission districts, DeKalb County Day Center implementation plan for DeKalb County citizens experiencing homelessness. And we also have Commissioner Robert Patrick that is joining us and will be a member of PECS starting in 2 weeks.
And before Mr. Mitchell starts, I just want to make another critical point, quite frankly, and with your adoption of today's budget, some of the programming that we talked about with housing affordability, and assistance to the unhoused, this is a prime example of one of those programs for the assistance of the unhoused. So, Mr. Mitchell?
Yes. Good afternoon. Commissioner Patrick, do you have a copy? If not.
Thank you, Director.
Commissioners, good afternoon, and thanks for allowing me to present. We've got an exciting proposal for you, something that we've not done in the county. We've had experience having small day centers, but we haven't had, in a fairly large way, had an initiative to accomplish some of the things that are very positive about a day center. You might be personally familiar with a day center, but I'll take you through a lot of the slide deck, which talks about what it actually does and the concept. It's an entree to housing. Very important to be able to have a facility where individuals can hang out, socialize, and get overt services, wraparound services, prior to being going to a shelter, or for that matter, going back to places where they currently house themselves. So the picture here is actually the front of a building which we've adopted as being a location for the day center. It's with Peace Baptist Church, which is located at 4000 Covington Highway in District 6 and District 4. And I'll take you through a series of things related to that. Keep in mind that building the pathway to stability for unhoused individuals is through this day center. So what is the ask? We're asking today specifically to approve an agenda item to enter into a lease with Peace Baptist Church. It's a lease for a facility which is 6,300 square feet. In addition to that, it's a 1-year with renewal options that the church has voted upon with their board to be able to allow having a direct lease with the county. The other ask is to consider entering a contract with Salvation Army, which is a preeminent nonprofit organization. We've worked with them extensively for years, and they've been around for over 100 years. And they have a great reputation within DeKalb County to provide services. And we also use them for other services that we have within the Community Development Department. So we're very excited about them. I might also add that we have recommendations and/or proposals from other entities within DeKalb County, New Life, Community Alliance, and also Frontline. But of the three, the most cost-effective entity to help the day center was Salvation Army. The challenge. What is the challenge? Why are we doing this? The key factor here is unsheltered homelessness has increased in various quarters. I'll make reference to the library. I'll make reference to other parts of DeKalb County where during the day, not at night, individuals gather for various reasons and congregate. We've had a major incident that happened in the library about 3 weeks ago. You're all aware of that. But there are other parts of DeKalb County where individuals hang out during the day because it's candidly nothing for them to do. They get a chance to go to shelters when need be or go to warming centers if it's extremely cold. But we don't have a place for individuals to actually socialize and get direct benefits and get an entree to housing during the course of the business day from 9 to 5. So to the extent that there's been an increase in individuals in quarters, it leads to a series of things. Encampments that are developed because they have no place to go. There are a lot of emergency room visits. There are a lot of complaints from various individuals. There are various nonprofits that complain. There are citizens that complain within your districts. And we got calls every day trying to help individuals, but they actually have nothing to do. This proposal would allow them to be able to get some invigorating services, which I'll take you through. But it does lead to individuals getting in fights, being incarcerated. There's just a series of things that happen by not having a place to go. So that's our challenge, to be able to accommodate our precious homeless individuals and give them a place to be able to get services. What is a day center? It's not that obvious, but it's clearly not a place where you spend the night. It's a day center is a safe, welcoming facility. It has meals, nutrition, hygiene services, support services. In this center, it goes to your immediate needs, which is basic hygiene and meals, pathways to stability and housing. It gives case management and job assistance. You'll see later on that WorkSource will be engaged with us. You'll see later on that Claritel will be with us in this facility. And also it provides some socialization for people that would like to enter. Also, again, it's not an overnight facility. It's going to operate from 9 to 5, 6 days a week, not Sunday. We have a lease with the church, and therefore they would like for us not to have a facility on Sunday, but we're okay to operate 6 days a week from 9 to 5. The other core services that are here, there are a very number of things that you can actually get. Basic needs, which are meals, showers. Let me dwell upon showers. Showers is an interesting thing in terms of mobile. This facility does not have showers inside. However, there are mobile showers. We have an agreement that this provider of service will enter a contract with Soap Through Hope, and it's an organization that actually provides mobile showers, and that's part of the contract to do that. 2 days a week, and it's an event where they actually show up and bring clothing in certain cases, but they actually provide showers at this facility on 2 days of the 6 days that they'll be open. There are also health services, which are medical screening, mental and health support, substance recovery. We got individuals and partnerships with individuals that dwell on this. It's also a path forward to have case management, job training. Socialization is very key here with the community. You have technology, computers, charging of stations for phones, mail services, just a potpourri of things that we're going to offer. Also, there are other things that day centers provide, which are here. Housing navigation. It's very important to realize that this is the entree for housing. Coming here, we're focused on trying to get you through a process to do intake to get you housed. You get employment. There are also behavioral health. Substance abuse is a key factor to deal with within this demographic. We have people there, they're experts in this area. Again, showers, meals, laundry, mail, charging stations is safe and being supervised. Why does this work on a national basis? There are a number of centers that exist today, but there's a higher engagement with unsheltered individuals. There's more assessment, increased housing placements, reduced emergency visits. There's just a host of things that this makes it work on a national basis based on the work we've done to interface with other day centers that are populated throughout the United States, from California to New York, et cetera. There are also some community benefits and also individual benefits. The things delineated in this chart express what individuals will get out of it versus community. And here's a conceptual thing I'll dwell on for probably 30 seconds. Conceptual of what a day center looks like. You have, in essence, a large space, which I'll show you a photograph of it in a second, but we have work source, clientele, as well as case management in this facility. Also, there's a kitchen to be able to provide meals. There are restrooms for the facilities that are there. There's a large open space. But again, to be redundant, there are computers, TVs, telephones, mail services, furniture, Wi-Fi, mobile showers, wash and dryer. These are things that individuals would not typically get during the course of a day. Now here's the actual photograph of the facility at Church Peace Baptist. These are photographs that indicate that there is on Covington Highway. A landmark would be Honey Bay Cam to the left, and there's a funeral home to the right, and it sits in front of 4000 Covington Highway. This addresses clinically 3996 Covington Highway, but the church is at 4000, which is in the back. It's an old shopping mall that the church is in, but they own this particular property. And this gives you a chance to look on the inside. There's a nice lobby. In the lobby, you've got that apparatus there, which is the serving entity for food, with a sink, et cetera, refrigerators. Also, that gives you a sense of the space that's inside. There are offices in the back, and there's a total of 6,300 square feet again. But that's what it looks like. Also, there are other benefits, which we get to, which deal with physical health improvements, mental health improvements. And you can see that there's a great success in terms of people that have visited. They reported improved health after regular hours, after usage. And there was a restored sense of dignity having participated in the day center. Here is a pathway to housing, which is the conceptual concept, stepping through intake, stability, preparation, and transition. Gives you a sense of the various steps we use. Comparable models. I picked 4, but there are several other centers around. But what I did was focus on Savannah here. Savannah is very close, and they've got a day center run by Union Mission, which is called Grace House. We happen to have a close friend that is the director of operations there. This is a picture of the new day center that they've got $5 million donated in Savannah to build. They currently use the existing facilities, but there's a proposal. They've gotten $5 million donation. The stats on their success is here for 23 and 24. The gentleman to the far right is named Tommy Jones, and he formerly worked in Fulton County with us, working on the NOFA, but he's the director of operations. He was in town Monday and Tuesday, and we spent hours with him getting a sense of how he was running his day center. But he's a friend, and he worked with us on the NOFA process over the years. So we've known Tommy for probably 20 years. But Tommy relocated to Savannah, and they elected him to be the director of operations in the Savannah Day Center. Also, Salvation Army, who we picked, formerly ran a day center at North Druid Hills Road. It's closed down now, but we did that for them for 2 years. This vendor that was picked has had the experience of being able to run a day center. Very competent, and as you know, Salvation Army is well structured with the arrangement they have. Very precise, very detailed, all about outcomes. and execution. Here's the budget. So the estimate for the budget, which is the lowest budget, it aggregates to $1.2 million. However, the first item on the budget is the lease component. It's $21 a square foot for the facility from the church, which is the rec contract with the church. The other factors there in the budget structure relate to Salvation Army, in which they propose to run the center with experience, things they've done before. It delineates salary and staff. There's a director with 7 components: food, snacks, operation, transportation, et cetera. We can get into that in more detail later. Here's some expected outcomes, which are not developed yet, but in terms of metrics, we're going to have meals served monthly, satisfaction rates, showers provided, in addition, individuals served, reduced substance use. These are things that we actually measure as we go through the center and all that. So we don't have numbers there, but we will once we start. Also, in the end, we're recommending that you approve the implementation plan. It's going to help us engage unsheltered residents. It reduces the crisis systems costs. It improves public safety and neighborhood conditions dramatically. It increases housing placement, and it's going to strengthen the worldwide homeless response. And it also provides dignity and hope for these individuals that don't have anything in the course of the business day. It's very important to have them have a place to go to that they love and cherish. So with that, we'd like your recommendation to proceed. I'll entertain questions if you have them. Yes, ma'am.
So,
And thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to bring one thing to everyone's attention. In our original agenda item, we had Frontline as the partner, and we were continuing to work with Frontline in our warming centers and other sheltering operations. But we have determined, in conjunction with discussions with Frontline and among ourselves, that what Salvation Army is offering, it makes sense for us at this point. So we're going to continue relationships that we have, but we're also expanding relationships in this space. So that's why Mr. Mitchell has mentioned Salvation Army, because that is who we're looking to contract with to operate this facility.
all right. And I appreciate that. Thank you for the share, because that was going to be one of my questions, because I did realize originally it was Frontline. And I welcome there being a bit of diversity in terms of providers there. As a matter of fact, at the Luck meeting in NACO, again, tax dollars at work, and Shannon shaking her head, she, was there and heard as well. The Mayor Gaskins, the mayor of Alexandria, Virginia, had a lot to share in and around housing, the unhoused and some of the initiatives that they have going on. But one of the things they shared was a competition, and prioritizing a competition of providers, and they spoke specifically of mental health and substance abuse providers. So that may be something else for us to consider as it relates to even in working with Claritel. The other thing they suggested that, in actually addressing the needs of the in-house and making sure that there is, again, that diversity, that there cannot be an overemphasis in this presumption, if you will, that individuals that are unhoused, that they're suffering with a mental health crisis or a substance abuse crisis. But some folks, and again, that's that missing piece that it seems like this is going to be able to serve. There are some folks that just prefer to not have a typical structure of a home environment. And so for us to provide these services in order to create some structure, still allowing for socialization, still allowing for, case management and services, including, workforce, availabilities for them, I think is just amazing, and doing something different than what we are already doing, opposed to just keep replicating the same thing all over and over again, to offer some diversity to make sure we're hitting as many of the unhoused that are in that situation for different reasons. But I want to open the floor up for my colleagues. Commissioner Terry, I think you had your hand up first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, so Salvation Army is the contractor. Can you go back to the budget slide, Director Mitchell? And it looked like in the budget, okay, so you're really trying to cover sort of all potential things that need to be taken care of at the site. When the day center closes at 6, is the at 5, sorry, at 5, is the expectation that there will be transportation to other night shelters?
There are a couple of options. Those individuals that would like to go to a shelter, you've approved a 400-bed shelter, so they have an option to go to the shelter with Frontline. There are a couple of locations that accommodate sheltering. We currently have 81 people in the shelter today. We have capacity up to 400.
At the Gresham Road site?
Yes, yes. So we have capacity to put individuals. We approved a 400-bed shelter, which we have under contract.
It hasn't been built yet, though.
It's built. We have a contract for $570,000 with Frontline.
Okay.
It's currently in existence today.
I don't think the
people.
Gresham Road can hold 400 people.
It's fairly large, and we have.
Well, I've been there, and there's no way it can hold 400 people.
We have capacity for Gresham Road, Elam
Okay, there's other sites.
Emerald Drive,
Okay.
and other sites. Yeah,
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, but individuals have that option to go to a shelter. They also have the
Okay.
option to go back to where they were. Some people that would come to this day center are not experiencing it with me on the house, but they have needs for services. So in certain cases, forbid maybe 10% of them might go back to wherever they're living because they have various issues that we cover, whether mental health, et cetera, and therefore they would
Right.
get services in that regard.
Right,
So-
because this is not a treatment center. So if someone is presenting with a mental health condition, you're not going to keep them there because they need other services.
No, Fabio has agreed to have individuals participate. He's going to have someone on site, so
Okay.
to interface, do case management there.
Okay.
Same as WorkSource. If someone wants to get job readiness, Lauren has agreed to be on site with the
Okay.
staff to be able to help with job placement.
Okay, and where in this budget would Clairtel's costs be covered?
Clairtel's cost is not reflected in this budget. The budget
Oh.
you're seeing is a
Okay.
function of what Salvation Army's contract would be and what Peace Baptist's cost would be for the lease.
Okay.
The two components of this proposal, a lease transaction with the church directly,
Okay.
the county. and
Will there
also-
be an additional funding? Because I think if Clairtel's going to have to
Right, if there's
deploy more resources, then they're going to probably need to.
Right, and so that's our part of the conversation that we have had with Claritel. So if there's
Okay.
additional costs associated with assigning staff there, then that would just come separately, and we would
Okay.
enter into direct.
Okay, so we can monitor that. Because I imagine like this is going to be kind of a slow rollout. You're not going to fill it with 100 people on day one. Is that right?
Probably not, because there has to be a certain amount of people feeling comfortable
Right.
coming there. But the intent with, to the Claritel point, is initially they will probably start with like an intake type person who can do screening
Okay.
on site and make appointments.
Okay.
But then over time, they may determine to have actual professional providers at the facility.
Okay. And I think we've been planning this for a while now, but I know the incident at the library
Right.
sort of kind of maybe initiated
Well-
this to be sort of rolled out maybe quicker than normal. Because I guess the main thing I'm worried about, and this is kind of related to what's happening in Fulton County with their diversion center, is it's voluntary. And so I guess the question becomes like legally, if we have someone at the library or like as Clerk DeBerry said, like at the courthouse, sort of cleaning themselves in the bathroom, and we tell someone they have to leave, but we will take you to the day center, and then they refuse.
Right.
Then what is it? Do the police have the ability to simply take someone to the day center, or do they have to take them to the jail?
Right, and here's what I would propose, because I think that conversation is going to involve the law department and a lot more discussion, Commissioner, but here's what I believe, is that historically, we have not been able to provide a viable option for people.
During the
So they're
day.
in the library, right, during the day.
Okay.
And not much at night either. They have found places to congregate. I do believe as we have logical, viable places for them to congregate and get service, then we may want to simultaneously look at what is loitering and how we deal with that type of thing.
Okay.
but it's kind of one step at a time. Right?
Okay. Well, all right. So I think, and the only thing I'm concerned about is, the director and 7 staff members, I think, is based on 100 people being on site. So the question becomes, if we are unsuccessful in getting individuals at the library on private property to leave, or maybe they leave, but they just say, I don't want to go to the day center, and we end up having, 25 people there. Is the contract able to be scaled up and down?
Absolutely. We will scale.
Like, in other words, I don't want to pay for a service and we don't fully use it. I'm not against the idea. Just looking at other models where if it's voluntary, then, some might just say, I'm good, I'm not going to leave. And, my experience with the point in time count, even going out when it was, 30 degrees,
Right.
We had a guy over on Candler who had a fire.
Right.
He had a campfire on the side of the road.
Yeah, that's
and we said, we'll take you to the shelter. And he said, I'm good.
Right.
So some people won't even go when it's 30 degrees outside.
And I think the beauty of what we're looking to do here is, first of all, we will show the doors are open. Right? People are invited. And then there's probably going to be a trust-building stage, and that will vary with each person, right? But
Yes.
ultimately, I believe we are very optimistic and working with the various community partners who have credibility and relationships with a lot of the unhoused.
Okay.
We get them in, and then, slowly but surely, maybe some job training, or maybe some getting your ID, getting whatever benefits that you may be
Right.
eligible
Understood.
for. That's
Okay. Yeah, I think that's great. Can you go back to the slide of the street view of the facility? And Director Mitchell, you probably have heard of this phenomenon. It's called the Eden effect. And it's something, go to the next one where you're looking at outside. So the Eden effect is just this general notion that if you include greenery in clinical settings, people sort of become maybe more calm, or even health outcomes improve. So, and because this is a very busy thoroughfare, and Zach, this is probably for you actually, because it might cost a little extra money, but would y'all be willing to either install some landscaping on this strip, or some like potted plants that just create sort of a sound and visual buffer that sort of kind of makes it not feel so institutional? Because when I look at this building, and I've been there for like Miss Jocelyn O'Neill's meetings, the Greater Towers neighborhood meeting.
Yep.
I mean, it's like an old bank building, I think, or something. So it's very sterile, but just anything that would just kind of make it have a little bit more curb appeal. Because I'm assuming some folks might want to hang outside too. Right, you're not going to force them just to be in the building. They might want to hang out in the little portico area. I don't know, smoke a cigarette. Who knows? But I think it would be good just to create a little bit of kind of a cloistering, where there's some protection, sound, and visual, so it feels a little bit safer and more inviting.
Yeah, we can take a look at that. However, I have to get with the church, because we have terms for the lease to ensure that they are okay with being able to alter this. It could be a leasehold improvement, to use the term, to be able to put any shrubbery there. If they're okay with it, then we can pursue that.
Yeah, and I think this is probably I think that's our public right-of-way, Zach. So, I mean, to the extent that we could like plant some trees or something, we got that contract with Trees Atlanta.
So I think that your point is well taken, Commissioner, and whatever we can do to make the site look more inviting, that will be our goal. So we'll have the conversation as necessary with the pastor, but we can certainly take a look at our own resources and see for the rights of way, what can we do?
Okay.
Yeah,
I did check this. This is in District 5 and 7, Director Mitchell, just for the record. But District 6 is just like down the road.
It's District 4. It's District 4.
Oh, well, on the map I'm looking at, it says, the GIS map, it says 5 and 7. But it's fine. I mean, I'm just clarifying the exact location. So would you be willing to just provide us like the monthly census report, so we could just kind of keep track of
we would do that.
the capacity and how it's being used? Okay, and then I guess once it's sort of up and running, could you sort of offer an opportunity for the commissioners just to visit when it's sort of fully furnished and ready to go, and it's running all steam?
We envision in 2026, thanks to the vote you just took,
Right.
there will be more field trips, and we're going to see
okay.
not only this, but other facilities. I see the Gresham Road, that you've approved, separately, an opportunity to do a field trip there and provide updates on that. So this whole space we're going to be talking about, and you'll see how your investment is paying off.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Terry. Yeah, and to the point of the traffic and that being a concern, especially as busy as Covington Highway is, and then you have 285 right there. Is there anything that we've looked at or are looking at in order to prevent any pedestrian tragedies? It's a pretty wide street. No stoplight right there. So are there any thoughts there as to, because particularly as you're dealing with, the unhoused, you'll have a lot of, they won't be likely driving. So any thoughts in and around that and safety?
We have not candidly pursued that. However, we can get with transportation, Police Keeter, and get some thoughts and ideas from transportation.
That would be great. And to COO's point, when he was talking about trust, again, something that was said at Luck was progress moves at the speed of trust. So, that's an important piece in terms of folks trusting us. But then also, they mentioned that the consolidation of continuum of care programs. And so one of the challenges that they were having was there was a lot of different continuum of care programs in and around. It made it complex to manage, and so they suggested, consolidation there too in terms of the direction things are going in.
Absolutely, and I'm going to steal that progress moves at the speed of trust.
There you go.
And interesting enough, and it dovetails, we had an excellent meeting on Monday with a number of the providers in and around Decatur and throughout the county, quite frankly, just talking through this facility. And so the vision is, although you have a primary operator in the form of Salvation Army, there'll be a number of other providers who are doing things, providing lunches at churches and stuff like that, that we're going to find a way to have, storage space for them in this facility where they can bring their staff, and we can all, bring the people and the resources together.
That'd be great. Commissioner Long-Spears?
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate the presentation. I'm very excited about this. Do, however, have some questions. So I will start with my questions pertaining to the budget, which is, they're not, slide 17. All righty. So the facility lease is $132,678. What is the monthly? Do I just divide it by 12, I assume? Okay.
It's about $11,000. Just divide that
Okay.
132 by 12.
Okay.
$21 a square foot.
Got it.
Footage is 6318. That's the math.
Okay, fantastic. And then for staffing, it's a site director, and then seven staff members for 6 days of operations. Have you identified the roles of those 7 staff members?
Yes. Conceptually, it's 4 case managers. There are also drivers, and there are other individuals that complement as a receptionist, et cetera. I'm just going mentally in terms of what
Sure.
they are. So you've got a total of 7, but 4. Then you've got a driver, a receptionist, and there's also a custodian, someone to be able to clean and monitor the place, because you can imagine a place like this can get quite filthy. So you need to have a day porter. Okay, so that gives you roughly the 7 people that are there, with various salary rates and all that. But it aggregates to that, they have benefits, et cetera. But that's the staff component.
All right.
Separate director. They've already picked a director, someone that we know very well, that works with Salvation Army. In fact, she was at the point in time count. I don't know if you recognize her, but they've already appointed someone.
Oh, good. Okay.
If this gets approved, they appointed someone to be, she's got experience running a day center. So they've already designated someone to take on the role as director of the facility.
Okay, so a total of 8 staff members for 6 days.
Yes, and they're going to vary their time, because you can imagine with a 6-day schedule with hours, they're going to put a schedule in place to cover the 6 days because of, so they've already worked out the math
Okay.
in terms of who would be on and off.
All right. My next question, well, actually, I'll come back to that one. Hold on. Okay. So maximum capacity of 100 individuals, and you've got food and snacks. Is that like 3 hot meals per day plus snacks?
No, it's a noon meal and also snacks to support that. So you would have coffee, tea, et cetera, snacks in the morning. You'd have a meal, per se, midday, and then you'd have snacks and beverages in the afternoon, leaving at 5 o'clock. So we're not going to...
So lunch only?
Lunch only.
And it's a hot lunch?
It's a hot lunch. Or it could be cold depending on the variations of things and all that. But it would be hot, but sometimes you might mix it up with the menus. I'm not a chef, but I'm told that they would mix it up, appropriate different offerings that are nutritional and all. So, but it would be a meal.
So the $150,000 obviously includes the meal, whether hot or cold, plus snacks. And then is that also inclusive of like an external entity that will be serving the food and cleaning, preparing, serving, cleaning up, or is the expectation that the 8 staff members manage that?
That's a function of Salvation's Army and ability to get food that they buy, but also they get a lot of donations. So they have a combination of donations plus food they would buy. They've got a staff to provide food. They currently run shelters in other parts of the county. We work with them and other entities, but they got a mechanism in place to be able to provide food. They also have the ability to transport food from their locations down to this facility. So, and they plan to lease a vehicle for transportation so that they're not buying a vehicle if they're going to lease it and all to augment that. We also have 3 vans ourselves within the community development. You approved some today that we can supplement the transporting of individuals to this facility. But they've agreed in this transaction to at least have a lease of a large vehicle to transport individuals, but it's supplemented by things we already own.
Great, thank you. Moving on, your operations facility of $51,000 annually, or I guess it would be prorated.
Annually. All these numbers are annual.
When do you anticipate this opening up?
We had a target date originally of 1 April, but that might be a risk. I've got to get through the contract process if we... Sure. So we're shooting for 1 April, but it might be 1 May, because if you approve this at the next BOC, then I've got to get a contract. A lease I've done before, but leases can be challenging. I've got to get a lot of work with me. I need to have a lease in hand. I have to have a contract in hand to give them a notice to proceed. So with that, that's the only obstacle to keep them from moving forward. So post-approval, if we got approved, next BOC, then I have to start the work.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to move a little quicker because I'm sure that the committee, we've got other items, so I'm going to go as fast as I can, and if you would please just keep your responses short. So just to be clear then, your annual cost here is for 12 months. So if it begins on 1 April, it will go through March 31. If it ends on 1 May, it will go through April 30th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm going to make a big note that this is 12 months. Okay, your transportation, $22,800, is that for the gas and repair of the existing vans?
It's to lease a vehicle that they would get. It's a new vehicle that they plan to lease, and it's the fuel associated with that vehicle.
Okay, Commissioner Terry asked some questions related to transportation, so I'm just trying to understand if the hours are 9 to 5, and if folks are staying at a warming center or cooling center the evening of, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but if I recall, some of the pickup times from the warming centers were as early as like 7 a.m. So will they be transferred from a warming center to the day center and they just hang out outside until the doors open at 9? What is that going to look like?
Okay, so it's going to take a couple of seconds to explain this. So let's use examples. If they're in a warming center, we have release times based on the weather. So when I look at the weather, we activate at 6:30 the night before. However, we release based on the weather. So if the wind chill factor is different, we release at 9, 10, sometimes 12.
Okay.
It varies based on weather. The earliest we release is probably more like 8-ish. But if the weather dictates staying longer, they stay longer. So I can't give you.
Okay, I got you.
And then we release based on the weather. We wouldn't want to put you out in 30-degree weather, and it's 9 o'clock. We keep you for an extended period of time.
How does this impact the 24-hour activations?
24-hour activation.
The 24 hours, I know when it gets down to a certain temperature, it becomes 24 hours and not, like, for example, St. Vincent de Paul often can't do the 24 hours because they're operating. Would it still trigger that 24-hour activation for the warming centers, or are you transferring that over to the day center? You see what I mean?
Yeah, the day center would operate during the day, of course, but 24-hour activation means something. Let me explain it. It's that if we pick you up at 6:30 on Monday night and we don't release you on Tuesday morning, we keep you all day Tuesday, might release you on Wednesday morning. So 24-hour activation means that it's 6:30 on the night before, you don't get released the next day, you retain and you go to the next day.
Okay.
That's how that works. So it depends on that. Some people will not, some people will be in the shelter per se, might want to leave the shelter, which is a different concept, go over to the day center, so therefore they'll be picked up from the shelter and taken to the day center.
That was my next question.
Yeah, the warming center is different, so the inflow is from various sources.
Okay, all right. I could probably ask a million more questions on that, but I won't. Under professional services, payroll, legal, insurance, got all of that. Showers, are you outsourcing like a shower vehicle or something?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a company that's got a mobile shower unit.
Is this Blessings for, what is the name of that?
Yeah, the one they're using is Hope Through Soap.
Hope Through Soap, that's it. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, and they have an agreement to sub that out to Hope Through Soap.
Okay.
We met with them. We met the proprietor. They're reputable, but they charge per event.
Okay.
It's a very nice facility. And
Got it, nice.
okay.
The nonprofit overhead of $137,133, is that for Red Cross
Yes.
or another nonprofit?
No, Red Cross only.
Red Cross, okay, gotcha. Okay, and I'll try to zoom through these questions. Do you have a multi-year agreement with Peace Baptist and Salvation Army?
The lease has an option. It's a 1 year with an option. We have to develop the lease and get it signed, of course. But that's going to be a 1 year with an option to renew.
Okay.
That's one contract. The other contract with this entity would be, would go to 1 year lease, 1 year contract with an option to renew.
Okay.
So they'll be crafted out when I get with purchasing and law to put these in place. We have to write those, of course, to work with them. We get those in place with the initiation dates of 1 April or 1 May.
Okay, very good. Pets. Will there be kennel services at this day shelter? So if someone has a pet, they have a place to put their pet while they're there during the day?
We have to work on that to get a cage, et cetera. We have some that are donated, but be able to accommodate that. So we have not added that to the equation, but it's possible with the space that's there to be able to accommodate that. We have cages that we used on the warming center. If you know, in the warming center dynamics, we house individuals, animals at Exchange Park.
Right.
So we have cages that we use at Exchange Park. They're available.
Yeah, I bought some
and
food
also
for them.
metal detector, which I didn't mention, we're going to try to get that from facilities so that we have an ability to discern whether you have a metal object coming in. And so hopefully there's no cost for that because we have some that are around we're going to get from facilities management so that to ensure that we have overt security.
Great.
We're going to have an armed security guard, which means that you can enforce the law for Georgia to say that there are no weapons allowed. As you know, it can't be enforced unless you have an armed security guard.
Right,
so
right.
baked into this budget is an armed security guard.
Okay. I saw that this is open to men and women. What about children?
The adage that during the day, unless it's Saturday, kids should be in school.
But they may not be there 9 to 5.
Exactly, from 9 to 5. So we're there 9 to 5. You should be in school unless someone's bringing a preschool individual, which is going to be rare. And maybe perhaps on Saturday might be an option.
What about summer or holidays, spring break?
Yeah, it's possible if you have a holiday, et cetera, to entertain.
So you will accept children?
Yeah, they wouldn't be exempt.
Okay.
Just that the adage would be you got to be in school and all that. But if you're not in school, then we would accommodate them accordingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so children are allowed when they are not in school?
Not in school.
Okay. All right, a MARTA stop. How far is the closest MARTA stop?
5 feet away.
Oh, fabulous, okay.
In that picture.
Okay.
I could show you if you like.
Oh, that's okay, nope, I'm just glad to know that. Is this considered a low-barrier day center?
Good question. The answer is yes.
Great,
However,
okay.
there's an asterisk by low barrier.
Okay.
If you're intoxicated, coming to the door,
Okay,
you and I get in. So low barrier has to do with the hierarchical structure with regard to individuals coming in and all that. So it varies. So that's, you can be really low barrier, but it is a low barrier, but the degrees of low. So you wouldn't let
Okay.
someone immediately that has a problem come in. We try to get them services, of course, but if you are intoxicated or under the influence, then you have to use some judgment. So it's low barrier to a degree with an asterisk.
so if someone does show up intoxicated,
Yes.
you simply reject them, or do you call the police, or do you maybe get Claritel folks to come out and try to assist them?
They can 1013 them, but we get police. We'd call PD first, determine the severity of it, then we can get Claritel over. But the initial call would be to a police department.
Okay,
If you come in smelling and you can tell the person's intoxicated, then there'll be a problem. The same thing in warming centers. If you come in intoxicated, you're not allowed to come to a warming center when you're intoxicated. That's not allowable. We call PD, try to help you, and you leave because it has an adverse effect on the facility.
all right. I may have some more questions on that, and I'll just follow up at a later date. So one thing I noticed is that in the actual agenda item itself, it's $930,000, but your budget is for $1,234,028. What's the correct number?
The correct number is what I have on the transparency. We have
Okay.
to submit a substitute agenda item
Yes, I would make sure that gets changed.
for that because that
Okay.
initial, as Zach said earlier, we initially have frontline there, but that has to be substituted. I have to update the agenda item with the nuances with Salvation Army and the associated costs and all.
Okay. What's the funding source?
Funding source is going to be the general fund.
General fund?
Yes.
100% from the general fund?
Yes.
Okay.
We approved it today.
Literally what you voted on this morning.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Are you offering any specialized services such as for veterans?
Oh, sure. VA would be, I didn't have it on the chart, but VA is a friend.
Okay.
They help us with the NOFA. They help us with the coordinated entry areas. We offer VASH vouchers. We love the VA. I'm a veteran myself. But sure, VA is involved. We have a close Jennifer Turner-Reed.
Okay.
Jennifer Turner-Reed is our key component in VA. That she's on the board for the COC, and her whole staff is associated with us. So I don't know if you know her or not. She's a renowned VA person
Okay.
that we've used her for probably over 10, 12 years.
Great.
She's connected. Jennifer
Okay.
Turner-Reed is her name.
Yep, name is definitely familiar. All right, moving on, legal support. You listed all kinds of other supports that will be there, mental health, behavioral health, et cetera. What about legal support?
Legal support. It's not listed here, but as you know, I think you know, Atlanta Legal Aid has a substantial contract
Right.
with us, and so we pay them to assist in many forms with lawyers. If in the event that someone has an issue, we can actually refer them to Atlanta Legal Aid, but they're not physically in the building, but they're on call. Karen Brown, who's our representative of Atlanta Legal Aid, is very active, and we can get help. But they're on the contract. We give them about, excuse me, we give, I would say about $70,000 to $80,000 a year we give Atlanta Legal Aid, which is for anyone in DeKalb County that needs legal services. We do that. So that's an ongoing contract that gets approved in our plan that you approved.
Would you offer a day, for example, if you need legal support, come over on Tuesdays between 9 and noon?
Sure.
On a weekly basis, something along those lines?
Okay. The answer is yes. We have DeKalb Pro Bono. All the legal folks we work with. At ICCI, we have DeKalb Pro Bono. Atlanta Legal Aid, they have substantial contracts. They volunteer their services. So we have all those connections with legal. Sure.
One of the reasons I asked that question is that very recently the Eviction Lab released a report, and the number of evictions in DeKalb County, it's incredibly troubling, and probably one of the worst in the whole state.
Yes.
And so I think assuming that some of these folks have been evicted, having access to an attorney at that day center, I think would be incredibly useful as a service to folks. So thank you for considering that.
I'll add that.
Okay.
And we experienced eviction because, we use home ERP funds. 90% of the people that call us every day are being evicted. So I'm fully aware of the eviction rate because people need help back rent 5, 6, 8 months behind. That's a major problem. Most of the ICC funds of the 13 million we spent, 6.5 is for delinquent rent and utilities, people being evicted. So that's a major problem in the county, but individuals not being able to pay their rent.
And just lastly, it's a fast question, mail. Are people able to receive mail?
Yeah, it's on the chart.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much. Yield back.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Patrick, do you have any questions?
I'll mention it.
I think the only question I didn't hear asked was, what is the capacity of the facility? I know you said it's 6,300 square feet.
It's
open
80
9
to
to
100. The lease says that you can't exceed 100.
Okay.
But we agreed to not exceed 100.
Okay.
The capacity's down. It's 18 square feet, but the church and all agreed to not to exceed a capacity of 100.
Yep. And I understand with 7 employees that they may not be able to handle
Correct.
a huge load right now. So, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Patrick. Commissioner Terry?
Yes, real quick, just in following up on the outreach person from Claritel. So I think what Commissioner Long-Spears made was a good point, that if there are individuals who maybe are brought there and then there might be a substance abuse issue, a mental health issue, we really want to have that, I think, locked in on day one. So I believe Clairitel's estimated cost was like about $75,000. So Zach, are you okay if we just go ahead and add this to this agenda item in terms of funding, so we just have all of that in place?
Yes.
So as soon as this thing opens, Claritel has like the mental health crisis component
Yes, so
locked in on day one?
Absolutely. Since we're going to be presenting a substitute.
Okay.
I just messed everything up. But yes, I would add $75,000 to the bottom line budget
Okay.
for that purpose.
All right, so I can make a motion if you're ready.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so motion is to approve the upcoming, it'll be a substitute for item 0396 in the amount of $1,234,028 for the Salvation Army portion, and then adding $75,000 for the Claritel outreach manager component.
Yes, we do that.
Second.
All right, and so just so I can understand, because I thought Claritel was already a part of, so was there not sufficient funding to include Claritel?
Commissioner, the budget did not reflect any cost Claritel would charge us. We're in the assumption that Claritel would effectively provide free services. Zach has agreed to add a component so that it's guaranteed that they would get $75,000. And that would in effect increase this budget with unique funds to Claritel. So it's guaranteed to have Claritel in. Claritel is going to volunteer their services, but now it's the hard item in the budget for them.
Well, if they were going to clarify, if they were going to volunteer their services, I don't understand why it's necessary to include that as a budget item specifically for them to get directly.
Right, and thank you for the question. And if I could clarify, in my conversations with Claritel, my understanding is they were going to need to charge for the service. So initially, they would bring someone in who could do some intake and referral, but in order to have a counselor type person on site, they would have to charge.
All right, so we'll explore that in more depth before it comes before the whole board. But at this point, I have a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate
you all.
you as always. Thank you for all your work and, and working collectively to try to, actually offer some additional options. I think it's groundbreaking, and I really do appreciate it. I know you're putting your heart, soul, and sweat into it, so thank you for all of that. The next, we have an appointment, and that is agenda item. It's under our appointments 0309. All commission districts to appoint Elizabeth M. Roberts, Esquire, to point 1 of the DeKalb Regional Land Bank Authority. Thank you so much. And Great afternoon, Attorney Roberts. How you doing today? You got it.
Good afternoon.
And thank you so much for coming to PECS and your willingness to serve in the capacity of the Regional Land Bank Authority. Thank you so much for that. Just a couple of brief questions you'll get from myself and my colleagues. But if you would start, it'd be great just to share a little bit about yourself and how any previous experiences qualify you for your position and what you hope to bring to the Land Bank Authority Board.
Sure. DeKalb County resident, District 4. And I am presently operating as a general counsel for the Fulton County City of Atlanta Land Bank Authority. Prior to that, I've got about 30 years worth of real estate experience. Some of that working as a solicitor for the City of Atlanta, working in code enforcement, and then also working for Fulton County and the County Attorney's Office.
Fantastic. All right, and can you share just briefly what you would hope to bring to the DeKalb Land Bank Authority Board?
Sure. My hope is that we could work through some of the issues that we have seen both in Fulton and DeKalb, which would be blighted property, the reconditioning of blighted property, putting it back on the tax rolls. Also helping cities and in the unincorporated areas be able to deal with larger scattered site projects as well as multifamily sites that need to be redeveloped.
Okay, and can you speak to that a little bit in terms of what that redevelopment would look like from your perspective?
Sure, I can give you an example of what we're doing now.
Sure, that'd be great.
We have taken down in the city of Atlanta through a number of years multifamily properties that have been condominiumized, done foreclosures on those demolition liens, reassembled those parcels into unified sites, and we're now listing those back out on for redevelopment through RFP, RFQ processes, either through Invest Atlanta or through AUDC.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Seems like you're a wealth of knowledge, and you bring a lot of it to the DeKalb Land Bank Authority, so thank you. Commissioner Long-Spears?
Thank you very much and welcome. We appreciate you being with us today. My question for you is, as an appointee to the Land Bank Authority Board, what would be your top 3 priorities to help advance the Land Bank's mission of reducing blight and promoting productive reuse of properties within DeKalb County?
I think I'd want to check with staff and see what your ongoing programs are first, and see if there weren't some ways that we could make those more efficient. But having not sat on your board, I'm not real sure where you guys are on that. So the first thing I do would be check with staff, and then reach back over either to Alan Ferguson, I think he's your housing director, and or the county attorney's office to find out what items they had on their agendas as well.
Perhaps I could ask the question in a different way then. What are the top 3 priorities that you have, or I guess top 3 maybe challenges might be a better way of asking this question, that you've dealt with related to land banks in your other capacities?
Funding.
Okay.
In order for the land bank to be effective, you need to fund it. The other things that I would suggest would be reaching out to the other cities in DeKalb's footprint. Mm-hmm. As you all know, you only need one city and one in the county to agree to charter a land bank, but this particular institution is open to membership from each and every municipality in the county. Right. So that putting forth the value to those cities, especially regarding either redevelopment or affordability. It offers a new tool in the toolbox for the county to work with nonprofits. We can hold the property in a tax abated status. As you are well aware, a land bank is really the only institution under Georgia law that allows you to extinguish ad valorem taxes. One of the things that we're also working through with the City of Atlanta is whether or not we would include and increase that footprint to allow for the reduction of fees so that there are any number of ways that you can reduce the carrying costs for a developer, primarily nonprofit developers.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Terry?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nice to meet you, Attorney Roberts. I see that you are a neighbor of mine in Scottsdale area. So you got District 4 and 6 to look out for you. And then just because, you have such broad experience in this area, and also you've been working with the Metro Atlanta Land
Correct.
Bank.
Correct.
So you have a lot of experience. So I'm just going to ask this the question that we have to ask everyone, which don't take offense to this. It's we ask everyone: are there any extenuating circumstances or potential reasons for recusal that could preclude or impede your service to the Land Bank Board?
No. And in fact, we've already presented this to our board so that we have board approval on our side.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Terry. Commissioner Patrick? Well, thank you so much. Once again, that exhausts our questions. We appreciate you being down here on a rainy Thursday afternoon and your willingness to serve again.
Thank you all.
All right. The next item on the agenda is 1718, All Commission Districts, LB Invitation 2025-025, Fence Installation, Repair, and Maintenance Annual Contract with 2 options to renew for the use by the Department of Recs and Facilities Management. Consists of a purchase, repair, and installation fencing for county facilities, recommended to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Hawk Fence LLC, ASAP Management Group LLC, for a total amount not to exceed $750,000. Great afternoon.
Good afternoon, thank you. So recommend to approve. This is an on-call fence bid for use by the Parks Department. Galvanized fence, athletic field fence, split rail fence, anything you can imagine for fence.
Seems simple enough. Do any committee members have any questions? Commissioner Patrick? Thank you so much. With that, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, 1718.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, and we will go back to, let's see, 0396. We didn't take a vote on that one, did we? No. All right. That's All Commission Districts, DeKalb Day Center Implementation Plan. Oh, we did, yeah, okay. All right, next is 0156, Commission Districts 3, 5, 6, and 7. Change order number 1, contract number 1373363, restoration and maintenance of athletic fields, annual contract with 2 options to renew for use by the Department of Parks and Recs. This contract consists of site restoration and maintenance of athletic fields. It seeks to increase funds awarded to JMB Landscaping, Inc., amount to not to exceed $55,596.76.
Thank you. Recommend to approve. This contract is 2 things. It's not only routine maintenance of athletic fields, but also restoration. And we were able to do some restorations. That's the change order that you're seeing in front of you.
Fantastic. Any questions from the committee members? Commissioner Patrick? No? With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item, 0230, All Commission Districts, contract number 135979 and 1367273, demolition of residential and commercial buildings, annual contract, second renewal of second option to renew for the use of Department of Parks and Recs. This contract consists of providing demolition services for county-owned services. It seeks to exercise the second renewal option through March 31st, 2027. Also seeks approval to transfer funds between the contract based on the needs of the county, awarded to Southern Demolition to LLC and Complete Demolition to LLC, total amount not to exceed $250,000.
Thank you. And this one, we're actually going to recommend to withdraw. We did have some demolitions, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to move forward with those. So we're requesting to withdraw at this time.
Okay. And let me ask you a question. Is it possible, because I know there was some demolition, we had talked about, there was opportunity to demolish that building on there. And I see Director last in the back shaking head also. So is it related to this, or is that something that can be done, or what are the thoughts there?
So the request was to do a structural assessment of the existing structure to determine whether we can reuse the structure as is. So that was the thought, just to kind of go backwards a little bit to make sure that we're using county money wisely. So at this time, we're requesting to withdraw, and then we can bring it forth if needed at a further time.
Fantastic. Well, I follow you guys, and as long as you're getting things done that you need to get done, I appreciate that. Any questions from the committee members?
Nope.
Commissioner Patrick? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to withdraw, 0230.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. The next item, and again 0306. Commission Districts 3, 5, 6, and 7, change order number 1 to contract number 2000464, cooperative agreement for the court construction of maintenance DeKalb County sealed agreement, bid number 25-6902 for the use of Department of Parks and Recs. It consists of a purchasing for competitively led DeKalb County contract for needed for court construction and maintenance. It seeks to increase funds from Embark and Dottie Bridges Tennis Center awarded to Signature Tennis Courts in amount not to exceed $72,910.
Thank you. Again, recommend to approve. So this is rehabilitating the courts at the old Ramsey YMCA property, which is now known as Embark, and then also converting 2 courts at Dottie Bridges, Flat Shoals. We work with the community group down there in order to convert 2 of the existing tennis courts to pickleball.
Fantastic. And are there any questions from any members? Commissioner Patrick? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the next item, 0313, all commission districts, LB invitation to bid number 2025-053-ITV, aquatics maintenance and lifeguard services, a 3-year multi-contract with 2 options to renew for the use by the Department of Parks and Recs and Human Services, consists of providing maintenance for on-site chlorinators, chemical maintenance, seasonal preparation, and lifeguard services for swimming pools, splash guards for county-owned facilities. Recommended award to the sole responsible bidder, Stangard Aquatics, amount not to exceed $1,234,140.80.
Yep. Again, recommend to approve. So this is all things pools, chlorinators, lifeguards, and everything to get us through pool season 2026.
Fantastic. Commissioner Terry?
And so because NH Scott Pool will be up and running, this contract will cover NH Scott for whatever months it's available.
That is correct. It has been added into the bid. Yes, sir.
So it will be open in
Yes.
time for pool season?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Fantastic. All right. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
The next agenda item is 0318, all commission districts acceptance of Federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA, additional funds request for dislocated workers fiscal year 2026 from the Technical College System of Georgia for the amount of $100,000. Commissioner, is there anyone here to speak to that item?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Lauren Green. I'm actually a new Director of WorkSource DeKalb, so it's a pleasure to be here to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah.
All right, so can you just briefly speak to what the use
request.
of the additional funds will be used for?
Yes, Technical College System of Georgia made us aware that additional funds and adult, dislocated, and youth were available. We did apply for all 3. However, we just awarded additional funds for dislocated worker. Those are people who were working, were disengaged from employment, and these additional funds will help them. The average cost of a training voucher ranges between $5,000 and $7,000. So this is estimated to serve about 15 to 20 people, in addition to the ones that we'll already serve for this year.
Fantastic. Any questions from committee members? Commissioner Patrick? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And just, we'll go on with the last 2. And actually, let's go ahead and go back and take care of the first three that we had not on page 1 for those following along. That includes our appointment of Attorney Elizabeth M. Roberts, Esquire, to post 1 of the DeKalb Regional Land Bank Authority.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much. The next agenda item, 175, to all commission districts, a memorandum of understanding between the Board of Regents of the University System of Georgia by and on behalf of the University of Georgia Cooperative Extension and DeKalb County.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And actually, the next 2 items really are companion items, and Dr. Perry is unavailable, so I'll speak to them. The first one, 1752, is exactly as you articulated. That's the annual MOU between the county and the Board of Regents for our ongoing operation of the Cooperative Extension Department. We have an agreement with them where they pay essentially half and we pay half for the employees and services. And then the next item simply shows the contribution that the county would need. And it goes from January 1st, 26 through December 31st.
All right, thank you so much for that. Shannon, I heard you mention Dr. Perry isn't available. Did we invite Dr. Perry to speak to these items?
Yeah, I think she's out of town.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, do we know when she intends to, or when she returns?
She would certainly be back before the meeting.
All right, so if it's okay to hold this and give her an opportunity to present in front of us, all right, with that, I'll entertain a deferral.
Motion to defer for 2 weeks.
For both of them?
Yes.
Items 1752 and 1774.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we are on our last page, page 4. That's agenda. I'm sorry. Let's see,
Bottom.
did we do 3? So we did miss 3. That is agenda item 0245, an allocation not to exceed $15,000 of the DeKalb County, Georgia Fund to be considered for the 2026 budget to the DeKalb Public Health to conduct a study on the known health and environmental impacts of data centers in local communities. And we are receiving a substitute.
Yes, there is.
Commissioner Terry?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. There is a substitute. And so just because the Public Health Department did not feel they had the capacity to work on this, we have updated it simply to have Science for Georgia, which is a nonprofit that's done a few research projects for my office as well as statewide to conduct this study. It's less of a study and more of an analysis about all the health, socioeconomic impacts, environmental status of data centers in general, as well as a further scan of any additional policies that we might want to consider at the Board of Commissioners when it comes to water use, wastewater, backup generators, noise, light, pollution, mitigation efforts during times of drought, intense energy need, testing requirements, and the list goes on. But Science Georgia is a very reputable entity in Georgia, and as their name says, they follow the science. So this would be an effort, hopefully, to just create additional layers of review and maybe hopefully a little comfort for some individuals who are concerned about how data centers could impact our community. But I believe, if we follow the science, then we'll be getting a lot closer to all the facts.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I reached out, public health is under the purview of PECS. So I did want some insight from our Board of Health to the extent they didn't have the capacity. And I did read their emails in and around the request that they make a suggestion. I understand that we have to have some additional scientific data in which we can consider and be able to share with the public so that we're taking all of the steps necessary to assess any potential adverse effects, if any, on our constituents to the extent that we're considering allowing any data centers to be erected here in DeKalb County. I would like an opportunity, though, to dig in a little bit more in terms of this provider and, touch bases with the DeKalb Board of Health and see what their thoughts are in terms of someone providing this additional information, if at all possible.
Well, to be clear, the Board of Health would not be involved in this work. However, they will be considered a stakeholder. So, I think it's totally optional to them, but approving this item wouldn't require them to do anything unless they wanted to. But we're certainly hopeful that they would participate.
Yeah, and so as a stakeholder, to your point, just wanting their way in, particularly as we're getting data that we're going to use and be able to rely upon. I wanted to at least touch bases, with them in and around who would be appropriate, and if it's Science for Georgia, then fantastic, or if they have another suggestion, but just at least making sure that we get a fully encompassing view as to an analysis as to, some of the science and the concerns. Particularly we have constituents that share their concerns in and around pollution as it relates to air, water, and noise. And so, those are three succinct areas that we definitely have to look into to make sure that we are addressing all of the potential pollution concerns for our constituents. So if you would permit me that, just seeing as I got this, I want to look into this individual and see, maybe we might have an opportunity to even make a friendly amendment to add where there may not be a particular area that's covered by or in the purview of Science for Georgia. Commissioner Long-Spears.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So, Commissioner Terry, I'm just confirming that it states here towards the bottom, the last sentence of the need impact section of the agenda item, that they will be able to complete this work after execution. So let's say it's executed, say, April 1. They could complete this work within 3 months, and that really does align with the timeline that they offered on page 2 of their presentation. And you feel good with that? And the reason I ask is the very first note on the timeline is that this is the most risk to the timeline, depending on the availability of stakeholders. I just wonder if maybe an extra month or two, just some wiggle room.
I think
helpful.
I think
It's your item. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to give themselves advance notice that if stakeholders aren't available during that first month, that it might impact the analysis timeline. But what I would suggest is we not delay. If we don't want to do it, we should just say it now, because if we do want to do it, then we should try to get this going, because I know the data center text amendments are coming back in May, second week in May. So, it in theory could be done before then, but it's hard to say exactly how long it would take. But I think the goal is to finish it within 3 months. That would be my expectation.
And that's fine. Go ahead.
I still have, okay, yeah, I have the floor. Okay, so if you feel comfortable with 3 months, then so be it, it's your item. A second point I had is on page 1 of their proposal. Again, this is the first time I've seen the Science for Georgia proposal. It says, research and summarize the current state of health, socioeconomic, and environmental factors. If possible, the DeKalb Board of Health can provide more granular, de-identified data about the health status in DeKalb. So it looks like there is a critical role for the Department of Health. I'm just pointing that out because it is in their proposal.
It says if possible.
Understood.
And the main reason is that Dr. Jewel Crawford, who we interviewed for the Board of Health here at this committee, this was really her idea. She was very adamant that we do some sort of environmental scan on data centers. So, again, we can't make the Board of Health participate or do something, but I do think that they are interested in providing data or documentation and or attending stakeholder meetings. And so again, it's totally voluntary for them. We want to be respectful of their time, but also respectful of board member Dr. Crawford, who was really encouraging us to work on this.
So if the DeKalb Board of Health is unable or unwilling to provide this data, Will Science for Georgia be able to access the data themselves?
So that's for baseline, and honestly, I think a lot of this data is already available. But again, they're not doing a health study. It's an environment, it's a scan. And the goal, hopefully, will reinforce any of our text amendments. So the things that we were talking about putting into the text amendments that are already there, some of those actually came from Science Georgia early on in the process. I know Rachel Bragg met with them, and so I would just chalk this up as an additional layer of scrutiny of things. Hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? One thing, since we have been discussing data centers, and this is the final sentence of the page 1, is community benefits agreements. We actually heard from Microsoft in a big announcement a few weeks ago that they are trying to incorporate community benefits agreements into all of their data center locations. So this kind of is an opportunity for us to pick things that the community should be asking for when it comes to CBAs and data center developments.
All righty.
Fantastic.
Yield back.
Thank you. And just as a point of clarity also is in terms of recognizing and on the floor. So do want to make that point, but thank you so much for yielding. Commissioner Patrick?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So I guess just a couple questions. Like some of the items they're going to look at is water use, possible water contamination, including coolants and PFAS, backup generators, the noise and light issues, mitigation during times of drought and intense energy, as well as testing requirements. So for some of those items, I'm just wondering if our staff isn't already looking into that or hasn't already considered some of that. Water usage in particular, I would think our staff should be knowledgeable about the water use concern. Contaminants, I mean, that would, again, under the MS4 permitting requirements, I don't think you can put any of those things down the drain, whether that's going into the stream most definitely through stormwater or going down the sewer. So I sort of think like some of those items might already be taken care of. Backup generators, if I remember correctly, staff was looking into level 4 generators. So again, that might be already addressed. With noise and light, we've already set standards in the proposed legislation, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's, I'm just wondering, what are we getting beyond what we're already getting?
So you're exactly right. And in fact, actually, some of the things that we put, like backup generators level 4, that was something that came straight out of Science for Georgia's call with Planning Department and the Southern Environmental Law Center. The one thing that did come up over NACO, and I emailed everyone about it, that I don't think we've quite addressed is how, and this came out of Chair Turner out of the Land Use Environment and Energy Committee, is the requirements not only to treat the coolant glycol mixes as a pre-industrial treatment, and in essence a portable treatment system would have to be sort of brought in, but then the question came up about the flushing of the closed loop air conditioning systems. In other words, they keep that water contained in those closed loops for like 6 months, and the concern that Chair Turner raised is that heavy metals and PFOS can increase concentrations by going through that cycle for 6 months.
Understood.
And so because that 10,000 gallon sort of limit under EPA, EPD is sort of the threshold for that industrial sort of permit, that might be a loophole in sort of our regulations. And so this was something actually that was the Science Georgia was already thinking about, and then it was kind of confirmed of let's make sure we're covering our bases there.
Okay.
I don't think it's a huge issue. I think it's something more just to cover our bases. And you're right, a lot of these things I think we're addressing, so I might kind of posit this as like an additional second opinion of additional scientific research that's already been done, because as we heard this morning, there was concern about, well, whose facts are the right facts? And so this gives us another layer
Well,
of
to your point, I mean,
support.
If I was a cynic on data centers, I would say the county is paying for a response that it might want to have. So, but if you want to move forward to that, that's another topic altogether. Perhaps, though, what we could do, either through PECS or through PWI, is have someone come and speak to us about the MS4 permit requirements what the expectations are. We can do that separately from this site right here, but it just seems like I appreciate the belt and suspenders approach on a lot of things, but I also think we have a lot of stuff that's already baked in here, and sort of the things that I've heard from our residents during our meetings, let alone the emails that I get, have been more on the skeptical side of everything associated with data centers, from we're helping the oligarchs to we're taking away people's jobs to we're polluting their neighborhoods. And I'm not sure that beyond what our staff has already provided, I don't know what this gets us, but that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Patrick. So my thoughts are, again, just would like an opportunity to be able to dig in more. If it was something I didn't want to support, I would outright say that. So that's certainly not my position, but very much agree in terms of wanting to ensure that it's all-encompassing and make sure what we're getting, one, is not being duplicated and not something that we should get through information from our own avenues, but just wanting to do a deeper dive. That's the only ask at this point.
Would you like Science Georgia to come back at the next meeting? And they could certainly answer any questions. And to Commissioner Patrick's point real quick, I do see Science Georgia as like an independent entity. So that was kind of the idea that whether it was public health or now Science Georgia, they are separate from the county. So it creates an additional layer of review that is, isn't, we're not dictating it. We're just asking for the facts. So,
Sure.
But yeah, I'd be happy to, if we want to defer
Invite them to
this,
come.
and then, you let me know when we can, the next meeting.
Yeah, we could try to get them in the next meeting. Just Shannon will shaking her head yes and try to coordinate with you, your office, try to get them on and get them to present.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for what's worth, I think that's a good idea. Bring them in here, let them make the pitch, and see if we have some residents that may have some opinions on it as well. But that would be great.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so I'll motion to defer this to, when's your next PECS meeting? I guess it's in 2 weeks, right? So how about March 24th? And
Yes.
I think we'll have a PECS before then.
Yes.
Or I'll not be on the committee
Second.
anymore, but you will have a PECS. Actually, all three of y'all will have a PECS.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we have our last two items. On page 4, that's 0244, all commission districts, a resolution requiring countywide health and environmental impact study before the issuance of a land disturbance permit for a data center.
Yes, Madam Chair, and this actually is, can we substitute here? More to the point of the previous item. So if the previous item can move forward, then I think that would kind of cover what we were trying to do in this initial. This is a companion item in essence. So I'd prefer for the work that Science Georgia will do, in essence, be completed before a land disturbance permit is issued. But I do believe that we have a little bit of buffer time over the next few months to accomplish that. So I'd be happy to recommend deferral
Yeah,
and
Sounds
not
good.
spend any more time talking about it, since those two things are linked.
sounds good.
So I'll motion to defer this item to the March 24th meeting, and then we'll just kind of, if you don't mind, put those two together.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The last item on our agenda for today is agenda item ending in 0341. All commission districts, a resolution of the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners requesting the Administration and Planning Department to update the recommended substitute for the text amendment 2025-0972 regarding data center regulations.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And as I told Director Bragg before the meeting started, don't take offense. I believe that the work that they have done with Tricia and Eva and Yvonne and the whole crew is really good. I think the ordinance is 95% there. The three things that I'm requesting, and this is more just the fact that we've pushed the text amendment into May, that we don't really have a chance really just to talk about these last couple of issues. And what was really interesting about what we heard this morning is, we had some members of the public that kind of began with, we don't want any data centers. And what we heard today is we don't want campus data centers. And so to me, that was the moment for us to reach a consensus and to reach a compromise. And so what I'm trying to do here is if the board, supports this, it would be asking the planning department to update their recommendations. And so I'll just review them real quickly. The number 2.1, as I mentioned, would effectively cap developments at 500,000 square feet each. However, I would be open to the planning department's ideas on how to stage data center developments, maybe over a series of phases, so that the impact of a really large campus would be mitigated. The special land use permit, I think, again, that was just something that, coming out of NACO, Chair Turner, even at this last meeting where he was talking about that other issue with the closed loop systems, was very adamant, and this is from their experience, just every data center application should have a special land use permit. That's how we get community benefits agreements in there. That's how we get additional site-specific conditions that will protect the community. And then because the Public Service Commission last Thursday voted to deny the motion to reconsider on the 10,000 megawatts, 2/3 of which would be fossil fuel power generation, the clean energy incentive would be raised to utilize 100%, and this would either be local, on-site, on the grid, or through a virtual power plant option, which could be deployed somewhere else on the grid. And then I'll share with the commissioners an article. A New Jersey data center was approved last month that has a 16 megawatt battery power plant on site. And so what was really fascinating about that is that is in essence a grid reliability measure, so that if the grid does go down, those on-site batteries could actually feed into the neighborhoods nearby to provide power during emergency situations. But on top of that, when it's not an emergency situation, you could effectively use the power of the sun, fill those batteries up with power that can then be used either on site at the data center or just on the grid in general to power our homes, which would allow meeting that 100% clean energy goal that DeKalb has all the more possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I completely agree that planning, they have done a great job at working diligently and contacting a number of experts in and around their drafting of the data center ordinance, and I'm glad we do have this time. That's one of the reasons why I supported us actually, taking additional time before we passed it, to make sure that we, again, get it as right as we possibly can, because we only have one shot at it. So thank you for that, and you're continuing to do additional research and trying to, add some more meat to this text amendment. Thank you for that. Commissioner Long-Spears?
No comment.
Commissioner Patrick?
Just a brief comment. Senate Bill 34 talks about paying for data centers or paying for the power for data centers. It might be worth taking a look at from our residents and reaching out to your electeds at the state level. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Commissioner Patrick. With that, committee, I am open to a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? I guess we all have an opportunity to continue to, to add to.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to take any amendments and obviously if the planning department has any tweaks that they think we should consider.
Yes.
Yes, open to any additional edits or additions. Yeah. Rachel's saying yes.
Yes, so very much we want planning to take a look and, to offer any suggestions. So at this point, it's a motion and a second to approve it. So as quickly as you have an opportunity, please provide those to the board so that we can, incorporate them where we can. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, with that, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us at PECS, and we are officially done. Thank you
Motion
so
to
much.
adjourn.
We exhausted
Second.
our agenda.
All righty.
All in favor?
All in, excuse me.
Sorry.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.